I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Hello and welcome. Today, from trust to triumph, how David Horsager strategies propelled business to success in many, many ways. So he's an expert in the field of trust and culture building in and around that. And you'll find out more. I've had the opportunity to meet him a couple of times in person, hear him do his presentations, answer a lot of really great questions, and teach us on how to be better leaders. If you're watching us live here today, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. If you're watching later and it's a replay, remember #replay. Let us know where you're chiming in from. If you have a question or observation you want to share with us, please do that. And then last but not least, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us get the messages out to other people. Just never know when one idea is going to have a huge impact on somebody you know and care about. I'm not going to do my commercial that I normally do. I'm so excited about bringing on my guest today that I'm going to push a button and bring something into play. You should be seeing this shortly on the screen. There we go. This is my esteemed guest. He's going to be joining us today. Just in a moment, I want to read his bio because it's an important piece. So David Horsager, the CEO and Trust Edge Leadership Institute and a global authority on helping leaders and organizations become the most trusted in their industry. He is the inventor of the Enterprise Trust Index, director of the annual study, The Trust Outlook. You'll find out more about that shortly, and a national best-selling author of The Trust Edge, with clients ranging from Fortune 100 companies to professional sports teams and global governments. David has taken the platform across Canada, I'm a Canadian, across the US and across 6 continents. There's also going to be another little bit of surprise when we get to some of the things that David has been involved with and helped make the world a better place. One company, one person at a time. Let me bring my esteemed guest, David, on. And here he comes. David, I appreciate you fitting us into your crazy busy schedule. I think recently you were just in Dubai.
Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Norway, Iceland, Chicago, New Orleans, and a few others. So it's great to be with you, Phil.
And the first question I have is, I know you've been in this profession and doing a lot of study and research and presenting, but way back when, how did this all get started that you jumped into this topic?
Well, trust was interesting. So Lisa and I mean, I could go back and say, well, I grew up under, you can learn from bad leadership and good leadership. And I guess it's not my fault I had a good leadership on the farm growing up with parents that people loved to work for and got to watch them. So I think there was something there. But my I started so I went on staff and became director of a youth and family organization where I built some leadership curriculum right out of college. And that became interesting. But anyway, Lisa and I started our own business in 1999. We moved back to Minnesota. We had one gig for $500 and we had no money. By that October, we had $1.40 to our name, 60 cents in the home account, 80 cents in the business account. After paying our urgent bills, that's how we took off. We found a basement to live in of 86-year-old Clara Miller's. We didn't know it was illegal to live in a windowless basement in Minnesota until 2 years later when we moved out. But no windows, no bathroom, and no kitchen. And most people wouldn't do that or sacrifice like that. But, I knew we had to keep costs low, black mold on the walls. And we would go 3 flights up to share her bathroom and 2 flights up to share. She'd give us a half of a shelf on her refrigerator. And I figured if I could make $700 a month, we could pay our urgent bills. We didn't always make $700 a month, but that's how I started in 1999. And little by little, it grew in spite of me. And basically what happened is early on, I was asked to speak at these youth events, and supposedly it was good content, and supposedly it was kind of entertaining and engaging. And And I got asked to speak in more and more things. And one times there's a few different tipping points where I got asked to do these kind of things in the corporate world. And one of the things that happens was I was doing a weekend youth retreat, and the commanding officer of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy was there with his son, and he was kind of chaperoning. And he said, "We need this at the academy." And that was a tipping point in 2000. And there's some other things along the way. But it wasn't until the early 2000s when I got away on a retreat. I thought, I'm supposed to get at that time, my master's degree. And I need to do it around trust. And I had this epiphany around trust. And I started looking at the research around trust, and there wasn't much at that time. And basically, I had this epiphany when I was working with one company early on, and it was that they think they have a leadership issue, but the reason they're not following that leader is they don't trust them. And then I started thinking the sales, it's not a sales issue. The reason they're not buying is because they don't trust the product or the person. And they thought innovation isn't going up on this team because they're not trusting each other. So they're hiding ideas. And then I thought about learning in a classroom. It's not happening because they don't trust the teacher, professor, content, or safety of the room. So I started to see how trust was the key issue. And that led to my graduate work. And of course, now everybody's talking about trust with and without research, but that back then almost nobody was. When I did my, you start your research by looking at the research out there, and there was very little in this space of organizational leadership and all that. And that led to my kind of this unique finding at the time that a lack of trust is the biggest cost in a company. And I believe that more than ever.
Well, you've got me sold on that, but I was sold on that before. When I learned that we were partnering up with you, with our company, Focal Point, I thought this is fabulous, because one of the mentors along the way, Brian Tracy, one of the things he talks about, not in the in-depth way that you do, is he has upside down triangle, which is what I call it. And the top 40%, trust. If there's no trust, there's no, people will make a decision, and that is, they're not going to make a decision to work with you, because like what's missing is trust. But what I like about what you've done is you're giving us data that supports that, along with some really cool, and they're coming out. This is a teaser ad. We're going to show a slide here later on, a new book that's going to talk about some of the tools to help us as trust leaders to help the cultures and corporations, organizations, and associations. So I'm excited that you're here to share some of that with us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
well, it's
cool.
a very cool book. And of course, I mean, people can go deeper with you. You're certifying on this work and have been through all that certification work, but trust matters more than ever. We'll come back to that, and I'll give a little glimpse of the inside. It's a really unique, cool business leadership book because it's really beautifully designed. There are 40 tools people can use tomorrow morning to solve their biggest problems with trust. So
yeah, cool. When I first ran into you, we were in Cincinnati, and you said something, and I believe it's true. I have this mantra I learned from another wonderful coach. He said, if you know what you want and why you want it and stifle the how, you can have anything. He's not saying you don't need the how, but don't let the how be a roadblock to think beyond. What I liked, what I picked up in Cincy from you was the how. So it led to something I already believed, but gave me a construct that I could walk my clients and myself to come up with something that I could do tomorrow.
Well, as you know, there's a lot of talk about the why, and it's true that the why motivates people, and it's true that the why, if we don't have any passion behind things, we won't last 10 days.
Great.
But there's also, without a how that I will do, there's no hope. So there are a lot of people that have whys today because it's been over preached, and it's good, and I respect people that talk about it, but people will have this big why because of whatever, and they don't have a pathway forward. And so they block up, and they actually don't do the why alone doesn't give them a pathway. It's I tell the story there, like when I had to lose the weight, my doc said, if you want to be traveling and hanging out with your kids, you better do something about this. And I said, well, I had to come up with hows. I only got hope. I didn't get hope when people just said, all you got to do is eat less and exercise more. That was just not clear enough for me. It wasn't, but eat less than what? Like Thanksgiving Day or what, so when? And so I had to ask how until I would do something differently today or tomorrow. That one how idea that we teach, that has changed the culture of some of the biggest organizations in the world. It's the way I lost 52 pounds in 5 months. I've had people say it tripled their sales. I've had people say it saved their marriage. So that is one thing, I think we do well with our framework is we believe in research. So we don't want kind of cheesy, everybody yell yes stuff. We start in research, but we take it to things I can use tomorrow morning. And that's the difference of I've got to be able to use this or I don't teach it, So
Yeah, so
that's
that's
one
what
of
I liked about that, because it added to something I believed in. And you're right, people can have the dream, and it's really important to have a dream.
Yeah.
But they got to take a step towards a dream. So what I like about what you do is what you've taught us is giving us a way to help them chisel down to a point where they, like you said, could do something today that will move them to somewhere with an outcome they can see it within 90 days, maybe a little sooner.
Yeah.
Right. Not
Absolutely.
21 days of change.
Nah,
'Cause
exactly.
That doesn't work anymore, right?
Something can start within 21, but it doesn't. A habit usually doesn't change. And this old idea with skewed, somebody skewing the research that really says, you don't change a habit in 21 days, like many people around the world want to say. It takes 90 days about to change a neural pathway. And if we can give them that hope, that's the problem with saying 21 is it usually doesn't happen. And then people are disappointed and they stop. Right. So if you can get there to something in 90, you kind of have a chance at changing your neural pathway and a lot of good things happening.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's amazing. Yeah. It takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of
everything great takes work, Phil. This idea in North America that we just want it to happen and instant gratification. I talk about that in the new book, Trust Matters More Than Ever. And why does it matter? Instant all these fear and instant gratification, all these things coming against trust. And yes, it takes work. If you want something good, if you want a healthy relationship, a healthy body, a healthy business, it's going to take work. It's way easier to have an unhealthy one. It's easier not get coached. It's easier not to eat right. It's easier not to exercise. It's easier not to go on a date with your wife. It's a lot easier not to do the work.
Yeah, so that ties into our comfort zone, right? It was explained to me by somebody who's an expert that we have this thing called the creative subconscious mind, and its job is to maintain sanity. And that sanity could be to an alcoholic to stay an alcoholic, to somebody who's in abusive relationships to stay in abusive relationships. So we act in accordance not with the truth is, but how we perceive it to be. And as a result of that, when we try to shift from our habitual thinking, it's a challenge. It takes effort. One of the things I like to think and believe, and it's been helpful for me, is don't do the hard work. Do the effort, massive effort. Because if you do the hard work, you'd be like that fly trying to break out of your house. It never breaks out of your house. It's bashing itself on the window and buzz it around. So hard is not the solution. So what I like about why you're here on the show is to help people find an easier trajectory with some ideas on the significance and the importance of what trust is. And if we do it hard, then it will be hard. But if we put in the effort on a consistent basis, use the 90-day how approach, then it becomes easier, not easy. But
let's dig into that one way. So we have out of the 45 tools I teach or so, let's talk about that one quick. So if someone has a challenge right now, so there's a framework for trust. We can talk about that. Maybe we'll come back around to the 8-pillar framework just so people kind of have context. I believe a lack of trust, the biggest expense everybody has. If we think we want to solve a leadership issue, we can't. We have to solve for trust. Then we get the leadership engagement. It's not engagement. It's trust. It's not sales. It's trust. The only way to speed up a sales increase trust. So we've kind of danced around this 90-day quick plan. So let's give that one a little bit so people have a takeaway right now. And we can get to as many more as you want. But the bottom line is I want to give the last 3 questions of the 90-day quick plan. These are the 3 most overlooked, underused questions that actually drive strategic clarity, that actually give hope, that actually take an idea to an action. And maybe many people want to stay in why forever, or they want to stay in who, get the right who's on the bus. And those are good ideas, Collins and others. It's great. The problem is I see still buses full of really fun who's singing Kumbaya about their why going right off the cliff. So the problem is they've got to ask these 3 questions if they want to take an idea to an action. And you got to ask these questions until you can do something today or tomorrow. These questions, and I'm telling you, I'm going to say the questions, and 99% of people don't get it till they actually apply it and try it and see how hard it is, but how much hope it actually gives. So the questions, as you know, are, number 1 question is, okay, I want to do this thing, right? I want to do this thing. I want to I want to save $1,000 this month. I want to, gain 10 pounds. I want to have a better relationship with my spouse, whatever it is. The first question is how. The second question is way more important. It is how. The third question is how. And you might have to ask how 7 times. But the point with this exercise is you have to ask how until you will do something today or tomorrow. How. So to give it some life, let's do it. I'll take the weight loss thing. Okay. And I don't judge anybody. We all have different things we're working on in life. I'm working on other things today. So the point is not, I'm not a fitness expert. I'm not a healthcare expert. I'm going to give an idea. I don't even think it's the best idea necessarily in the world. It's just one of the hows that I would do. You have to do something. If you would say to me, David, you can never have ice cream again, I'm not going to do it. For some of you out there, you say, you're never going to have bourbon again, not going to do it. Don't do that. Pick a how that you will do, right? So I started asking, I knew I had to take in less calories or I need to exercise more, but I needed to start with one and I have to drill down on that. So let's just take the calorie thing. Okay, obviously, if I'm going to lose weight, it's a science. All these fads online, you got to burn more calories than you take in. That's it. It's science. So how do I do it? So I started thinking, okay, how? One doctor said to me, most men in America, if they wouldn't drink their calories, they'd lose 30 to 50 pounds in 1 year. Now, I'm not a big alcohol guy or something, so I knew that wouldn't be true for me, but I thought I could lose some this way. And I asked him, what about juice? Shouldn't I drink orange juice with my breakfast? He said, only if you want to get sick. I was taught drink juice to get your vitamin C. And of course, he was right in saying it's a terrible way to get vitamin C. Eat a half an orange, drink a glass of water. Juice is full of sugar and usually has terrible amount of very limited amount of nutrients. Stop it. I haven't had juice for 11 years. Secondly, I grew up not getting to have cans of, you call it because you're sophisticated up there in Canada, you call it soda. We call it pop because we can spell that in Minnesota. So I didn't get to have that. So I thought that's special. If I'm rich ever in my life, I'm going to drink a can of pop. I'm going to drink pop. Well, I started flying more 25 years ago. And the flight attendant said, you can have your own can. I got so I could drink 5 cans of Coke by LA. So what's the problem? I just drank 3 meals worth of terrible calories. So I said, how am I going to drink? So I'm not going to drink juice. That's one final how. In the morning, breakfast, not going to drink that. I'm going to drink water. Okay. Another one, on the plane, I'm not going to drink Coke. I'm going to switch to Fresca. And Fresca is still sweet. It took care of my sweet tooth, but there's no calories. Now, some of you are saying, well, that's bad for you too. It's got this other stuff. Leave me alone. I had to make one change at a time. I have to do something I will do. So I changed to Diet Coke or Fresca. There's plenty of arguments that the real sugar is better than the not, but this is a way I could get less calories. The point is, I how'd it. So a final how has a who, when, and where. So I said, who, David. Every time I'm on a plane, that's the who. Where, every time I'm on a plane, or when, every time I'm on a plane. And what is, I'm not going to drink a calorie. So when they offer me whatever, I'm going to drink a Fresca or a Diet Coke, no calories in it. So that was one of a few final hows I had. The point is, it gave me hope. It's like, oh, I can change from from Coke to Fresca. I can change to, I can give up having orange juice for breakfast. I maybe not going to give up ever having ice cream again or whatever, but I could give that up. So you got to get to how, and it's the same with sales. People say, okay, I'm going to call more people. No, you're not. You've had that opportunity forever. How are you going to do it? I'm just going to call more people. No, you don't even have a list. Okay, I got to get a list. How am I going to get a list? I'm going to go and do this. How am I going to do that? How, until I'll do something today or tomorrow. You can always get to how you can do today or tomorrow. And that's the key on this, where we've seen change. I had a CEO. We need a better culture. How are you going to do that? We're going to be more clear. How are you going to do that? We're going to communicate more. I don't trust them yet. We're going to hold each other accountable. How are you going to do that? Until they got to a how they would do today or tomorrow. Then we trusted them. And that changed the culture of the second biggest healthcare organization in North America. How. Get good at asking. If you want clarity in an organization, you've got to get good at asking how. Of course, you got to teach this in your team. You can't go in like me and be abrasive. How? But you got to teach it so people get it, so we can land on final hows. That's what we do around here at the Institute. My team will go, okay, but how, David? How? We have so many people having meetings where they don't ask how until they'll do something today or tomorrow. So that's one of the tools that can change the world.
So here's one of our fellow coaches from Focal Point, and he's saying so many people just say, I'm going to lose weight this summer and leave it at that. They ignore the how. So yeah.
I love Michael. Yes. Hello, Michael.
You're not very passionate about this topic at all, are you, David?
I'm passionate. Let's go. People say that, like, why are you so? I've heard a couple other people talk about trust. You seem so much more passionate. Well, I did my own research. I wrote my own books, and some people have other people do all that. And I've seen it change. The first company we used it in, attrition dropped by millions of dollars, they said. Then we saw Navy ships have said, the admirals said, we've lowered suicides. And we've had people say it tripled sales. We've had people say it gained market share. And it changed me. So I'm absolutely, passionate about it. Yes. Oh yeah. Alan says, unless it's fresh vegetables or fruit. All right. There we go. No packages. See, that's a good final how. Look at, I can do that. Okay. I'm going, that's in a package. Can't do that. Right. Love it.
That's awesome. Who else has popped in here? Oh, that's it for now. I don't have this choreographed as to what to ask you. I do have a lot of things.
I can jump in anywhere. Do you want me to lead it? I'm going to give you one thing, Phil, because I think we need to be there. We need to understand quickly the framework. And I spend 8 days on this with clients, but let me just give how trust. People ask how trust is built. And then you can hang all these questions on it, because I'll just say, first, people have to understand the core. At the core, it's a trust issue. We have to see that. When we see that, we start to solve the right issue. People say, it's a communication issue. No, it's not. It's one of these. Clear communication is trusted. Unclear isn't. Consistent is trusted. Inconsistent is. When I get one level down to the right thing, I solve the communication, the engagement, the leadership issue. So here's the 8 pillars of trust. Here's how trust is built. We hang all these tools, all this research that's been validated comes down to these 8 and comes under these 8. So how is trust built? Clarity. People trust the clear and they mistrust or distrust the ambiguous or the overly complex. When I'm clear, I'm trusted. When I'm not, I'm generally not trusted. When I'm complex, when I was a professor, we got to look complex. We lose trust when we come across complex. Clarity. Number 2, compassion. We trust those that care beyond themselves. I won't follow you or be accountable to you if I don't believe you care about something beyond yourself. Compassion. Number 3, character. We trust those that do what's right over what's easy. We knew this would be important, but character isn't everything. I will trust Phil to take my kids to the ball game because I know his character, but I won't trust Phil to give me a root canal because of competency. You've got to be competent. And this is why you get coached by Phil or others at Focal Point or others around the world. And this is why you read. And this is why you have mastermind groups, because number 4, competency. We've got to stay fresh and relevant and capable. You can't be leading the way you were 20 years ago or selling the way you were 10 years ago. You've got to stay fresh, relevant, and capable if you want to be trusted. Number 5 is commitment. We trust those that stay committed in the face of adversity. You're going to jump when the pandemic happens or something else difficult. I'm not saying you might not need mental health or other help, but you will trust people that will stick in the face of the tough times. Next pillar is connection. The ability to connect and collaborate with others is trusted. This is what Phil, some of the people jumping on here are some of that collaborate and encourage each other. I love that. But there's counterforces to each of these pillars. We have a counterforce wheel in the tools that Trust Matters book, actually. But it's like one of the counterforces of connection is siloing or ego, and it pushes against that pillar of willingness to connect and collaborate. Next pillar is contribution. The number 1 word that came out of this research funnel was results. I trust those that contribute results. So that's another reason we're trusted. You've got to contribute results. Finally, consistency. Sameness is trusted for good or bad. If you're late consistently, I will trust you to be late. The only way to build a reputation, the only way to build a brand, consistency. Those are the 8. Only for clarity, they start with C's. All the other things hang, like empathy, that fits under compassion pillar, or listening fits. The things you might be thinking of, listeners, they fit under these 8. But if you can look at them as these 8, you can solve the real issue instead of saying, we got communication issue. No, you don't. Communication is happening all the time. Clear is trusted, unclear isn't. Compassionate communication is trusted, hateful communication isn't. High character is trusted, dishonest isn't. We get down one more level. We see people solve massive problems. So we can hang a lot of questions on these 8 or anywhere else you want to go. But I think that framework that you're certified in helping people apply is critical to get. And I know people walk away right now and say, oh, I got it. Got the 8. There's a load under each of these 8 to apply.
Absolutely. I want to share a slide here that has that. Um, going to add it to the stage here right now. You can see that, right?
I
So
can.
this is kind of what your research has shown, right? And there's the document and a report they can go to the trustoutlook.com and
Yep.
get a copy of this, right? Is that right?
All the way to 20. Yeah. And that picture shows through 2021. You can see 2023, 2024 ones in process right now. So yeah, you get a lot more of them, and they're free. We pay for all this authentic research, global studies. We pay for it because we don't want to be like the chocolate company that found out that everybody should eat 5 pounds of chocolate, right? We want to be authentic, no sponsors to our research. We do it all without sponsorship or bias.
Right. And why I like this particular slide is it talks about a number of things. It's an essential factor. Key elements you've kind of already talked about. The 8 pillars are right here. You didn't just make that up and spin it out of your genius today. It's something, it's part of the culture, part of what we're certified to help people in business organizations and associations develop in their own space. And each of the pillars are a necessary component, just like you talked about. And if you want to see the research, like you're saying, they can just go to trustoutlook.com and do their own reading and have a look to see if you're telling the truth. Are you trustworthy?
You
Right?
can
I
see
know
at
you
least
are.
one of the my grad work is not on there, but you can see at least one of the outside PhD research labs that revalidated our work. So you can even see if you want to see outside validation at all. We don't have all of them on there, but we have a significant one that's outside validation.
Yeah, so I like the fact that it's supported with the research and the data, and I can leverage that. I don't have to do all of the things that you've done to help us, because you're teaching us, coaching us, and mentoring us in this space so we can have the ripple effect, which is one of the core principles of Focal Point, is the pebble on the pond. And you're helping be our pebble in that pond and helping us with our clients.
And the great thing about it for me is you can do the coaching better than I can in your space. You understand, you have history, you have wisdom that I don't have. So we bring this, and you get to contextualize it in your space. You get to use it with your clients, and we have it. So it's really we're quite some people say at least generous in how we let people use it. So you can. This is why it works at the Navy, because captains are teaching it in the Navy, not David. Like I go in and I certified, 50 naval leaders that are contextualizing and changing, training it on naval carriers, thousands of people per carrier. But because they're doing it and I've helped them, but they've helped me to contextualize it. And that's the same at some of the universities, and whether we're using it in policing or we're using it in Nairobi, Kenya, or wherever, right? So just had, I guess we have a couple new certifieds from Philippines yesterday, and we have I think on 6 continents. So it's fun.
That's exciting, isn't it? Growth. With a message and a resource and a set of tools to help people. And we've just scratched the surface on the tools. What I'd like to do now, though, if I can find the right button to bring it up, is I want to share where the people can find out more about you. So we're going to do that here and add that to the streaming right now. So what we're looking at here is your LinkedIn page. I know it's really hard to see it. Don't panic, guys and gals. I have a way to fix that. It's like magic. It's right there. So if you want to learn more about David, get connected with him, follow him on LinkedIn. That's how you can do it. It's very simple. The URL is right there. Some of the ones that I put up for guests go for miles. I like yours. It's short, succinct, and efficient. And there's a ton of stuff in there. You'll see. Let me just scroll down a bit. Some videos to watch to learn more. Also, the other place I find that's really good to learn about David and what he's doing is YouTube. There's a lot of great content on YouTube where you can listen to David in his not so passionate manner, just like he is today, right? Tell the same
I think
story.
there's a couple. I think they have a couple hundred at least, maybe more videos of me on there.
Yeah. So there's lots of places to learn about what you guys are up to. Yeah. And they don't cost anything. But as we know, if change happens if you've got somebody to help you, whether you're an athlete, a business owner, entrepreneur, doesn't really matter. If you have a coach to help you hold your feet to the fire, metaphorically, not literally, it makes the trip a little easier. It could become part of your how, right?
Yep.
And
And
then
you've got access, the certified partners have access to some significant special tools, from trust assessments to some of the worksheets and things we can work through. So it's always better to do it with someone. That's part of the connection pillars, And yeah, there you go.
And then, of course, everybody has to see where your webpage is. So I'm going to bring up the proper banner for that, which is right there. And it's just real simple, trustedge.com. And if you're looking to have information, get connection, if you want to have David to come and speak to your organization, just go to the website and make it happen there.
I'm passionate about it. Go check out that video. Or check out the video at davidhorsager.com, which you can get to right from there by hitting my name.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Good. I want to ask you, wait, there's somebody here and just made a comment. Let's see what they're talking about here. Oh, just somebody I know waving. Hi, Eric. Thanks for popping in. What I'd ask now is if there was one thing with all of the things you know about trust, you would just share with our audience.
Well, I think one, you have to see that it is always the core issue and the leading indicator. Trust is not a soft skill. It is the leading indicator of success. So you asked me to do one, but here's extra credit. Number 2, that last pillar just is the queen and king of the pillars, and that's consistency. It is the little things done consistently that make the biggest difference. Not the big things, the little things done consistently. If I'm overweight, it's because I've had too many scoops of ice cream over years. If I'm a good husband, it's because I've loved and honored my wife over years. If I'm a good leader, I'm not just sharing the vision at the annual meeting. Today, if you're not sharing the vision and values in some way every 14 days, nobody knows them. So they're not making decisions by them, which is the only reason to have them. And they lost all the power of clarity by losing consistency. If I'm only consistent with people that look like me, if I'm only consistent about compassion, consistency is queen and king. You want to be a good salesperson, it is consistency. You want to be a good leader, it's consistency. So little things done consistently. So the question I always ask after we do a big strategic session or trust day or leadership day is like, okay, we said all this, we dream big. What will you do consistently? Because frankly, take a marketing idea. There's a lot of great marketing ideas, but the only one that works is the one you will do consistently. Consistency gives the power.
That's the magic formula, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. Yeah, this has been mind blowing. I love your energy. Can never get enough. And and how do I know that? Because I was with you last week.
Yeah.
Or yes, wasn't last. It was yesterday.
Was that yesterday?
I know.
You were just hoping it was last week.
I saw some papers there that you're bringing up, and
you were going to show the book, and I thought I'll just show it because it just got turned into the publisher. It comes out. I just thought it'd be fun for people to see because most books aren't so beautifully designed inside. So Trust Edge is still evergreen. Trusted Leader is a great business parable to get the idea of trust, and it gives some actionable takeaways. This new book is it's got really cool tabs and designs and the pillars. This is just kind of a look at what we got here. Trust matters more than ever. We've got endorsements from admirals and 4-star generals and CEOs, and anyway, it'll be really fun. Oh, you're showing it again. There's so much I can show. Here's there. I've got it out here. The design, but you can see kind of it's full of. It's got 40 tools that you can use tomorrow to start building trust in a certain way. And if you want help, Phil is certified on these. And the other cool thing is right now you can pre-order it on Amazon and get 40% off. That's what I saw last. So 40% off right now on Amazon. Or Phil's got some copies. I think he'll be divvying out sometime. So anyway, but I just saw that this morning that you can pre-order it, and they're doing a special before it's even out, which is several months still. Trust matters more than ever. 40 proven tools to help you lead better and build trust now. And it's actually grow faster and build trust now. lead better, grow faster, and build trust now. But anyway, it's fun. And of course, you've got a lot of extra tools because you're certified to help people with those 40 proven tools, which is fun. But anyway, been great to be on here with you, Phil. Thanks so much.
I'm grateful for you being here, and everything of value is built on trust. You've said that over and over. It's a constant thread of narrative in everything I've experienced in the short time I've been able to learn about what you and what your company does.
Thank you. I believe it. Everything of value, from the greatest financial institutions to every good relationship you have.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up. If you'll just hang out for a little bit, I'll be right back with you. Well, I don't know what you guys think, but every time I get the privilege of learning from David, it cranks me up, and it's the start of my day where I'm at. So I'm going to have a terrific, I'm actually going to have I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a wonderful day. So get the books, go watch the YouTube videos, check them out on LinkedIn. You won't be doing yourself a disservice. You'll be doing yourself a favor. So on that note, let me just wrap this up with my favorite little expression, just pushing buttons to make things happen. And this one here is the you represents you. So be your unique and wonderful self. Until next time, I'm Coach Phil, your host of the Business Renovator.
I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.